Power creep in Zenless Zone Zero is not the problem, and neither are you. Zenless Zone Zero is in an alright spot at the moment. It has made many improvements since its launch and has continued to receive positive feedback from its players. However, the game still has its flaws that concerns players on a regular basis, one of them being the dreaded power creep issue. But what if I told you power creep isn't actually the real issue here? What if, rather, the main problem for Zenless Zone Zero wasn't new characters being better than older ones, or the players using them, but what if it was partially the company curating this situation in order to benefit from it? Well, in order to answer that, I've broken up this video into points to make the discussion as a whole easier for you to understand, and potentially to see a new perspective on the situation. With that being said, let's get started, proxies. Internal power creep is not the biggest threat here. External power creep is. Let me explain. In terms of what I'm referring to as internal power creep and external power creep is simply referring to power creep from character to character. Ellen to Miyabi, Soldier 11 to Evelyn, that kind of thing. External power creep is the environment that the characters are operating in, that mainly being the endgame, shield defense, deadly assault, and the battle tower. More so shield defense and the deadly assault, because not a lot of people are going to be participating in the battle tower, but just for an example. Speaking of which, the endgame is slowly becoming more demanding if you're not pulling best in slot characters, both old and new, due to the environment the devs are implementing in the game. Whether that be increased enemy stats, more HP, more attack, more defense, more daze resistance, more damage reduction, to introducing new enemies that are becoming a lot more aggressive, a lot more faster, making them have difficult attack patterns for everyone to deal with. What was effective for us in 1.0 won't be as effective further down the line, especially further into the future going into 2.0. The main points I'm going to be referencing here, or the main character I want to reference here, is Ellen, because I see Ellen as a great example for what I'm about to get into, due to hearing a lot of complaints that Ellen's not keeping up, or she's just being completely power crept, Ellen's irrelevant, she's not worth being invested into, where I don't exactly see that as true. Why do I not see that as true? Well, just to stop you right there, currently editing the video. Now, originally, I was going to use the previous shield defense results and deadly assault results as well, just to show you some visualization of how this is affecting the player and their clear times and etc, etc. However, they've recently just dropped the recent shield defense results and deadly assault results, and the easiest way to put it is a lot more worrying than the original results that I was going to show you. Jumping straight into it, as you can see on the screen currently, the difference between Ellen's 1.0 team and the variations of that team and her new best in slot team is simply night and day. Now, there's a few things that's terribly wrong with this information you're seeing on the screen. The first being the sheer difference in the times that the teams are clearing in. Her old team is clearing in at best a minute behind, at worst 2 whole minutes behind, which is not good. Why is that not good? Because the second issue that I'm bringing up is that this 1.0 team has been here since the start of the game and has only been just under half a year, and they're basically redundant, because typically you'd want to clear shield defense in 2 minutes 30 seconds, the longest, to make sure your other side can also clear in 2 minutes 30 seconds so you can get full clear times. As a player that's played since the start, if I couldn't have enough time to invest all the resources into my team, but I still built them somewhat well to clear the end game beforehand, but all of a sudden now I can't clear it because it's just, oh, the magic number of 7 or 8 months is clocked in and now your team's irrelevant, now you got to go pull new units. I'm probably going to look at the company sideways thinking, wow, I invested all this time into this old team and now I can't even use them anymore because they're not good enough, and now I've got to go pull new units, or I need to giga invest into my old units. It's not a good look for the company whatsoever, because it just shows that they want me to consistently pull new units to keep up with the game, despite me possibly really liking these new units. I can't use them anymore because they're just too weak. The third and final point I'm making for this quick jump in here, I was a little bit curious to see how much the HP was increased from this enemy in particular that you're seeing on screen that I'm fighting in the current tree defense to the first time it was introduced. The first time it was introduced, I believe, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, was in the December Chi defense before Miyabi was introduced. So this would have been 1.3. He had, as you're probably seeing on screen now, roughly about 6.8 million HP. He now has 9.1 million HP. With the exact numbers on screen, you can take these with a grain of salt because the numbers might not be bar for bar, digit to digit from the website I did get it off of. It's roughly about a 25% increase in HP within 2 patches. So from 1.3 to 1.5, which we're currently in, I don't know if that's concerning or not. It seems concerning to me because within 2 patches, he's jumped up by 25% HP. Not to mention when 1.4 did drop, I'm pretty sure all of the enemy stats did get increased just as a whole because all of our agents could now ult, so they would do more damage across the board. So enemies' stats needed to be updated to compensate for that. But just to make sure that I'm clear, all the results and the information that you're seeing for just this section, you can take it with a grain of salt, because this doesn't represent the majority of the player base that is using LN. So this doesn't represent all the elements, but the reason why I'm using this information is the people that have put the information into Pride are typically people that would be looking at builds, trying to play the game like at a bit more of an optimal level than the average person. So if let's say the more dedicated player on average is struggling like this, then I can't imagine what the average player is going through that's using LN or just using casual teams nowadays. Let me know what you think. This is actually a really big problem. This does seem like a bit of a concerning issue if every 2 patches we're just going to get a bit of an increase in HP, like up and up and up and up, to the point where the environment now is just aggressively matching only the newer units. Now this will affect everyone differently, some more than others, but that is actually a great segue into our next part of the video. The second point I'm making in this video, which is what I see at least to be the main issue that not only Zenless Zone Zero but Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact are facing, is Hoyoverse's gacha system. It's a gacha economy and the way they're rolling out banners. It's a huge issue at the moment, and let me explain why. As I previously mentioned in the first point of the video, the environment is progressing at such a fast and rapid pace that it's too aggressive for the older characters to deal with comfortably. Why is that? Well, the rate they're rolling out newer characters is very fast. We're getting 2 new characters per patch, and often they're doing this in a bundle mentality where it would be the DPS character has a best in slot teammate on the second half of the banner, or the second half of the banner has the best in slot teammate on the first half of the banner. Example of this being Evelyn, Astra Yao. New example of this probably is going to be Ambi and Trigger. They're just going to work well together. The issue with this is that players won't have enough time to be able to save up for everything, let alone if this pairing, this double package pairing, is put on this same half. Well, it is a bit too aggressive in my honest opinion. So not only are they rolling out new characters a lot faster, they're also making signature weapons increase in value by giving the wearer a lot more mileage than what they would have done in comparison to a signature weapon in 1.0 or 1.1, right? Miyabi is a good example of this. Her Wenjin giving her so much mileage in comparison to all her other free-to-play options. I believe the difference between her Wenjin and free-to-play Wenjins is about 40%, 20 to 40%, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, if there are any math nerds in the chat. But it's about 20 to 40% different from what I've seen by watching a few videos and just doing a little bit of research on my own. It's just a lot, which then puts the player in a situation where they need to make a decision between pulling best in slot teammates, pulling signature weapons. And the way the Hoyoverse is making this situation is pretty bad, because not only do the company wants you to pull your character that you really want, pull the best in slot teammate. That's already putting you at 320 pulls. If you want to hard guarantee both, you then now need to worry about Wengens. And if you want a hard guarantee Wengens, that's 140, because the latest the Wengens are going to put you to is 70. So now you're sitting on like, it's sitting at a really uncomfortable number. Let's say that I give it the benefit of the doubt and you don't want to pull on everyone for that package. You want to pull on like one character and one Wengen. That's already costing you 300 anyways. You're already at 300 to hard guarantee a character and to hard guarantee a Wengen. Hard guarantee a character is 160, hard guarantee a Wengen is 140 on average, right? That's putting you at 300. For the whole package, you're sitting at 600 pulls. Not a lot of people can even put up with that, man. It's really rough. It's really rough to get that amount of pulls, considering you usually would only get one guaranteed character. Well, not even guaranteed character. You get one guaranteed S rank item per patch, typically, for a Hoyoverse game. Now, you could say this might not be bad if the weapon banner was guaranteed. It might not be bad, but the weapon banner is not guaranteed. 75-25, right? We're still sitting in that old, archaic way of having to win 50-50s or 75-25s. It's been like 5 years since Genshin's rolled out now. The way that the Hoyoverse as a company is dealing with these banners, dealing with the gacha system is too old. Like it's so aggressive and it's so fast. At this point, the gacha system has to change with it. Like if you're gonna make this new way of promoting and selling these characters in these 2-for-2 bundles, making the signature weapons even more stronger than they already are, you need to compensate that somehow. Make the weapon banner guaranteed, or make the character banner 75-25, or make the characters, let's say on the limited banner, the first S rank item you do get will always be guaranteed to be the character. After that, it's the whole 50-50 spiel. Work on the gacha economy. Why can't we buy any S rank characters in the shop? We can still only buy weapons. It would help us, at least if we were to lose a 50-50, we can hyper invest into our standard banner characters that can help us team build until another character comes along that we like. Instead of making this a situation to where not pulling the best in slot character could be horrible for them. For example, Evelyn and Ellen. If you didn't pull Lighter, both of those characters suffer quite a bit in terms of damage. Now Ellen can make up for it by having like one, like either having Lighter or just having Astra, like one of the two. But the point still stands as they both suffer a lot from not having Lighter. That shouldn't be a situation that happens with any character. It shouldn't be that much of a damage difference that they drop off by. Which is why I say this is the biggest problem that Zenless Zone Zero is facing right now. The way they're rolling out the characters it's too frequent, which has a knock-on effect to the environment that needs to be tailored towards these new characters very quickly, which is making the environment just rapidly progressing, which is then having a knock-on effect to the older characters, because now you don't even get to use the old team comp for that long. It took less than half a year for Ellen's old team to basically be underperforming, essentially, if you want to put it like that. It's not healthy for the game space. It's very, very unhealthy that things are moving this quickly and things are being made irrelevant within less than half a year. But with that being said, I will leave it on this note. Power creep in Zenless Zone Zero is not the problem, and neither are you. The real issue is how aggressive the environment affects older team comps, and Hoyoverse creating situations that put players in bad positions. That is more likely to force the player to spend or make bad decisions and not pull on the characters some of your older units really need. Hopefully in the future, this won't become a bigger issue than it already is. Hopefully they ease on the amount of new characters they're dropping. Hopefully they give their players enough time to play with the older teams. Hopefully they understand that the environment is progressing too fast for older characters or older team comps to keep up, and it's a very big problem in terms of Zenless Zone Zero's game balance. But only time will tell if that will come to pass. With that being said, wishing you luck on your future pools, proxies. Until next time, take it easy.